Hey everyone, and welcome. Today, we're diving into Microsoft Power BI. Now, you might think of it as just one single tool, but its real secret, its real power, comes from understanding that it's actually two very different but connected parts. There's a private workshop where you create, and then there's a public showroom where you display your work. And if you want to master it, you've absolutely got to know which one to use and when.
To really get what Power BI is all about, let's use an analogy. Picture this. You're a judge at a state fair, and you're looking at this amazing prize-winning cake. You're not just looking at the fancy frosting on top, right? No. You're appreciating every single layer, every ingredient, and all the hard work that went into making it. That way of thinking, well, that's the key to understanding Power BI, because that's exactly what Power BI helps you do. It's the tool that lets you take all your raw data, your ingredients, and transform them into a prize-winning report full of insights. But before you can get that blue ribbon, all the real work has to happen behind the scenes, back in the kitchen.
And that brings us to the most important question. To create a masterpiece, you need both a workshop and a showroom. I mean, you can't bake a cake in the display case, right? You need a proper kitchen for all the heavy lifting, and then a showroom to present that amazing final result. So in the world of Power BI, where's the kitchen and where's the showroom?
Okay, let's start with the kitchen. In this analogy, your data workshop is Power BI Desktop. This is where all the magic really begins. It's where you're going to measure, mix, and bake all those raw ingredients. So what is Power BI Desktop? Well, it's a standalone application that you actually install right onto your computer. It's designed for you, the individual creator, as a private space to do all that heavy lifting. We're talking about molding your data, transforming it, and building the core of your reports and visualizations. All of that happens right here.
And inside this workshop, the workflow is actually pretty simple and logical. It all starts with getting your data in the door. Then you build what's called a data model. Think of this as your recipe. And finally, you analyze and visualize the results. That first step, though, getting your data, is the most fundamental part of the whole process.
Step one is all about gathering those ingredients. I mean, no data, no cake, right? And this is where the desktop workshop really shines, because of its flexibility. It can connect to over 100 different data sources. We're talking everything from a simple little Excel file on your machine to massive cloud databases. It's way more powerful than the online version for this.
So once you have your data, you need that recipe. And in Power BI, we call that a data model. And listen, this is probably the most important concept you need to grasp. A data model is basically a reusable blueprint. It defines how all your different data tables connect and talk to each other, and it's where you build in your specific business rules.
So what's actually in this recipe? Well, it really boils down to three key things. First, you have the tables, which just hold your raw data. Second, you have the relationships that you create to link those tables together. And finally, you have the formulas, which in Power BI are called measures, and these apply your unique business logic to create calculations, like total profit or year-over-year growth.
But why even bother building a data model? Well, the answer is simple: efficiency. Think about it this way. A really well-built model is a reusable asset. You build the logic one time, and then you can spin up dozens of different reports from it. This approach can, and I quote, dramatically reduce development efforts and cut costs, all because you're not reinventing the wheel every single time.
Okay, so you've been busy in the workshop, and you've baked an absolutely amazing data cake. Now what? You're not just going to leave it sitting on the kitchen counter. Nope. It's time to move it into the showroom. Power BI Services.
So Power BI Services, this is the cloud-based online part of the whole system. After you've built your report in desktop, you just click Publish, and that sends your creation up into the cloud, into the showroom, and the whole point of Services is to share your work, to collaborate with your team, and to get your insights in front of the people who actually need to see them.
And the star of this showroom? It's gotta be the dashboard. This is a feature you only get in Power BI Services. A dashboard is basically a single page, a canvas, where you can pin the most important visuals from your reports to tell a high-level story. A good way to think of it is like the menu for your data masterpiece. It gives you the highlights and tempts you to drill down and find out more. And really, collaboration is the name of the game here. In the showroom, you can work with your colleagues in a shared workspace. You can package up a polished report as an app for the whole company. You can chat about insights right inside Microsoft Teams. Or you can even embed a visual on a public website. All of this stuff happens in the cloud, well outside of your private little desktop workshop.
So we've toured the workshop and we've walked through the showroom. Now let's put them side by side. Let's really lock in those key differences head to head.
When you look at it this way, the distinction becomes crystal clear. On the left, you've got the workshop, the desktop app. It's for the individual creator. It's a solo environment for building. On the right, you've got the showroom, services. It's for groups and consumers. It's all about sharing and collaborating in the cloud. The pattern is so obvious. Creation happens on the desktop, collaboration, and key features like dashboards only exist online. They're two different tools for two very different jobs. So, you've got your workshop and your showroom all set up. But there's one last critical piece to this puzzle: making decisions. A report is pretty useless if the data is old news. So how do you make sure that beautiful cake in the showroom window doesn't get stale? Well, here's the cool part. A report that you publish to Power BI services isn't some dead, static PDF. It's a living, breathing document. Services can actually reach back to your original data sources, wherever they are, and automatically refresh the data. And that means your report always shows the latest information, which allows for some truly dynamic, up-to-the-minute decision-making. Now, to manage this without any headaches, just keep 3 simple rules in mind. First, always schedule your data refreshes for off-peak hours. That keeps everything running nice and smooth. Second, know your license limits. A pro license, for example, gets you 8 refreshes a day. And third, keep your model lean. Only include the data you actually need, because a smaller model is a faster model. And one last crucial detail on how the workshop and the showroom interact. You gotta remember, this is a one-way street. You publish your work from the desktop workshop to the services showroom. But anything you build in the showroom, like a new dashboard, it never syncs back down to your original desktop file. The workshop always holds the master copy. Always. So there you have it. Power BI isn't just one tool, it's a whole integrated system. A private workshop for building and a public showroom for sharing. And using them together, that's the real key to turning your raw data into those prize-winning insights. Every single data set has a story just waiting to be told. So the only question left is, are you ready to build that story in the workshop and then publish it from the showroom?